Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we're ranking all of the Rocky final fights. It's been a while since I made a Rocky video, even with camp included. Like, I don't think I made a video since, I think even before the MCU ranking. I think that was the video I made right before it, or maybe right after, I'm not sure. So, that was the training montages video. This is the final fights. We have 3 more Rocky videos, including this one. Not much else to say, but before we get started, go check out my Rocky playlist. And one disclaimer, it says Rocky fights. Originally, that's what I was going to do, but it's kind of hard to rank these, all the fights. So comment down below if you want all the first fights from all 4 first fights. So, not much else to say, but let's get started. Picking Rocky 5 for last place was such an easy thing to do. To be honest, this final fight is just kind of bad. I mean, it's a fight, so it's still enjoyable. But like the rivalry as a whole between Tommy Gunn and Rocky just doesn't work because Tommy's literally just a jerk. That doesn't want anything to do with him, apparently. So, like, the fight is just not set up well. The one thing I'll give about it, it is kind of satisfying to see him just beat Tommy Gunn, this jerk. And I like how Robert's there, too. But, like the movie, the final fight comes in dead last.
And here we go.
Yeah, and I mean, Rocky 3, it's just, like, the problem with this final fight is that it's just 3 rounds. Like, it's, like, just 3 rounds. If it was longer, I could have done it. And this kind of exposes some of the more sarcastic sides of Rocky, which tend to be kind of fun in Rocky 4 and even Rocky 5 and BALBOA. But, like, it's kind of odd here, and this fight's really, really cheesy. Even cheesier than the Rocky 4 final fight. So, like, it really weighs it down by the cheesiness and the 80s-ness in general for this movie. And really the whole... and Rocky 4 too, but here I feel like they kind of tap into the seriousness too, which Rocky 4 they just go all one way. This one it's kind of in the middle where like it just doesn't quite work. In the final fight, it's still a great final fight. There's a huge gap between this and Rocky 5, but I mean 8th place is a good spot for it. I think this is I like this one more than the first fight in the film. But still, I don't think it's a great... And I like how Apollo's training him. I think those are the best aspects of the fight. But a lot of the close-ups of the face just don't really work. They're like... It just... I don't think it works. But it's still a pretty good final fight and ends the movie pretty well.
One punch can still turn it around.
Apparently, he forgot his arthritis meds this morning.
Rocky misses. There's a meat-seeking missile on the point of the...
Yeah, coming in number 7, we have Rocky Balboa. This is one I think I've liked more than Rocky 3, but the reason why I like this one a little bit more, just because the way it kind of ends Rocky's little character arc throughout the franchise really works for me. Like, the way it ends all of this stuff really works. Mason Dixon is not a great villain. That's kind of what hurts the fight. I don't like a lot of the black and white stuff, but the fight choreography, it's been more modernized, and you kind of see that quite a bit. Like, that's the problem with some of the older fights like Rocky 3 through 5 where it's just like a lot of cheesiness thrown in there. Here you don't have any of that. Same with the first 2 Rocky films and the Creed films. So it's a bit more of a glossier fight and more like, it's a thing more professionally done, I guess. I don't know. But then like some of the other fights, but I don't think it's one of the best ones, but it's also not one of the worst ones. And it does end the movie in a nice way.
You move pretty fast for a big guy, you know that? Listen, why don't we just move around a little bit, you know, like, give him a good show. First I'll chase you and you chase me, okay? How's that? All right? Here you go. Is that okay?
Coming in number 6, when you're talking about fun fights, really funny, and just hilarious, this is probably the top of that list when it comes to this franchise. In Rocky 3, we got Thunderlips. One of the funniest villains and kind of the dumbest. It's just stupid, but it's really funny. And I'll be honest, this fight is great. My one problem with it It's just a weird one because like the way it's placed in the movie where like he has to battle this wrestler, it's a bit different, but at the same time the way he's able to pick up Thunderlips and the way Thunderlips just bench presses him is just hilarious. This is just such a funny fight, and I'm gonna be honest, that's why it's this high in the list. That's the only reason why it's this high. And I'll include it in the first fight list, and it's probably near the top of that one. Maybe second, I don't know. There's one other I think it's better. But overall, I think this is a really fun fight. Probably my favorite part of Rocky 3 as a whole. This or like Apollo and Rocky's friendship starting to build up, and when they're in California. So,
Big shots.
out the top 5, we have Ricky Collin from Creed. The Creed final fight, the first one, I think this is one of the more... I think this is the most professionally made and glossy fights of all of them. But I think the problem with Rocky Balboa, you can still kind of see some of the old stuff from like the old fights. And it doesn't match well. Here they just focus on modern fighting. And I think it kind of works. Maybe not focus on it, but you get what I mean. At least I hope so. So overall, I think this one, is really nicely done. I think a lot of the fight choreography is great. Ricky Collin poses as a pretty good threat to Adonis Creed, and I think it really works. My one problem with it just doesn't have a lot of the weight on it, kind of like some of the other fights do. Like, really, the whole top 4, maybe except for one, maybe, really have a lot of weight to it. This one, not so much, so that's the only reason why I think it's lower. But I think the fact that this is the first time in a while we've gotten a good fight that's not with, like, someone trying to kill someone. I think this is the best fight. Except for one, I think this is the best fight since Rocky 4, if I'm going to be honest. I think it really is an homage to the first Rocky final fight and the second one too, and I really like how it's like that.
Well, the champion is smiling now. He's toying with his man. He's trying to give the fans their money's worth because he'll make a show of it.
Coming in at number 4, we have the original Rocky. I think the thing with this one is that it's very, I think the emotions are there. The choreography, there's a lot of just Rocky like doing like missing shots, or Apollo missing Rocky, or like Rocky doing this, now I'm punching that hard. And the problem is you don't hear a lot of the sound effects that you do in some of the later ones. Even Rocky 2 improved on that, which kind of surprised that this movie doesn't have that. But I heard the thing was filmed like backwards, like it started at the end and then went to the beginning, and then they like removed the makeup that the actors had on, so that's actually pretty cool. And I think the emotions here, probably the second most in the entire series, behind I think Rocky 2. But overall, my only problem is that the choreography isn't quite there, but the emotion is, and it ends the movie very satisfyingly. And even though I don't even think Rocky won the fight, it creates a little cliffhanger into Rocky 2 that really works for me. Coming into number 3, we have Rocky 4. Remember when I was talking about Rocky 3 with all the cheesiness stuff? This one is implanted into this fight, but I feel like it's a bit more apparent and filled throughout the movie, that it's not so just like, it just like changes a little bit near the end. And I think the way it ends the movie is fantastic. This feels like the most satisfying ending to any of the Rocky movies, this or Rocky 2, if I'm going to be honest. The only reason why it's not higher, just one thing. This could have been number 1 if it didn't have this problem, and maybe number 2. But how is Rocky not even, like, Ivan Drago's a freaking, like, guy with steroids. This is one thing that they should have done in the movie. This is probably my biggest flaw with it. They should have just mentioned that he was just a great athlete, not with any steroids, because it kind of hurts the movie a bit. Like, it just feels like Rocky's just being a superhero, but at the same time, being a very fun and over-the-top movie that Rocky 4 is. This final fight is just a great way to end the movie. The montage through it, I don't love, but still, it's a really fun fight, and it's very satisfying as an ending to this movie.
And we're underway.
Oh, and Drago comes out swinging with 2 hooks that Creed avoids.
And a big right hand right out of the surprise as Creed shakes that punch off.
At the top 2, we have Victor Drago from Creed 2. I think this one has a lot more weight on it than Creed 1 does, because you have the rivalry between Ivan Drago and Rocky Balboa, and then Victor Drago and Adonis Creed. And I think it really works, because my biggest problem with the some of the other from like Rocky 4 is that it's very cheesy, and you see there's still, it's kind of dated. This one does not feel that at all. Got like the original Creed, it is a bit more modernized and more professional looking, I'd say. And overall, this fight actually really works for me. I don't really have any big problems with it. The only thing I could come at is that at the same time, it doesn't have a lot of the emotion, but it does have weight to it, and I think it does work.
Fighting right-handed. I don't believe it. The Southpaw still is fighting right-handed.
Coming in number 1, we have Rocky 2. I think Rocky 2, to be honest, I think is one of the ones that has shot up my list quite a bit. It used to be down like near the bottom, like number 7, but now I think I shot it up to like number 3 or 4. And the final fight is mostly what does it. And the final fight ends the movie really well. My problem with some of the rest of the movies, especially like the middle, where like he's going to the hospital with Adrian, and like it works, but it's kind of dull at times. Once you get to the training montage in the last 30 minutes of this movie, or 36 minutes if you want to be exact, it's just awesome. Like, the final fight is amazing. The training montage is amazing. And the thing with this one, all the fight choreography really works for me. And it doesn't feel dated like really all the other 3 fights that are made before 1990. And really, I think Rocky 5, I wouldn't say it's dated at all. But, like, this one, I do think I wouldn't call it modernized or professional. But, you know, that's not a good term to describe it. But overall, I think this fight is just fantastic. It has a lot of weight to it, a lot of emotion.
He is the new heavyweight champion of the world.
And it comes in at number 1. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.